Well, good evening, Council, members of the public. Prior to getting going this evening, I'd just like to take a minute to introduce to everyone our new interim CAO, Mrs. Isabell Hadford. And on behalf of Council and all of Team Valemount, Ms. Hadford, I bid you a warm welcome. And so we'll get going with this doozy of a Tuesday, being February 22nd, 2022, and we'll call this public hearing to order. First item under the agenda is the adoption of the agenda 2.1. Recommendation here that the public hearing be adopted as presented. Councillor G, Councillor Pearson, all in favor? It's carried. I do have a quick preamble to present under 3.1. So hereby, public hearing dated February 22nd, 2022, held in the Village of Valemount Council Chambers, 735 Cranberry Lake Road, Valemount, BC. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to the terms of the Local Government Act prior to consideration of two items. Number one, street vendor permit 01-22 Sunset Shack Limited at 1422 Bruce Place. And number two, Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 847-2021, amendment bylaw 856-2022. At a public hearing, any person present who believes that they are affected by a matter being considered shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matter contained in the proposals. Members of the public speaking to the proposals should, at the appropriate time, commence your address to this council by stating your name and area of residence, at which time then you may give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposal. Everyone who deems their interests are affected shall be given the opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. All who submit comments at this public hearing will restrict their remarks to the matters contained in the proposal, and it is my responsibility as chairperson of this meeting to ensure that all remarks are so restricted. At the conclusion of a public hearing, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representation made at the hearing. Item 4.1, we'll have a presentation around the permit of a mobile food vending unit, Sunset Shack Limited, to operate at 1422 Bruce Place. Ms. Eddy?
Good evening. So the first item on tonight's public hearing agenda is the Sunset Shack Limited application for a street vendor permit requesting to operate an alternative location, meaning a location not already approved in the street vendor bylaw. Street vendor permit 0122 proposes to allow Sunset Shack Limited to operate for up to 3 years, 7 days a week, from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. at 1422 Bruce Place. Property is legally described as Lot 17, District Lot 5708, Caribou District Plan 16593. The same vendor operated at this location last summer alongside Barbecue Banditos, and there were no concerns received from the public. At the regular council meeting of January 25th, 2022, council gave initial approval of the proposed street vendor permit location. Since then, adjacent property owners have been notified and affected residents have been invited to provide feedback via written submissions or at tonight's public hearing.
Thank you. Under 4.2, have there been any written submissions or summary of submissions received prior to the proceedings?
As of noon today, no submissions were received.
Thank you. Under 4.3, are there any verbal presentations from the public? Under 4.3, for a second time, are there any verbal presentations from the public? And under 4.3, for a third and final time, are there any presentations from the public? Under 4.4, is the proponent present? Under 4.5, are there any questions or comments of the public? Under 4.6, are there any questions of staff and or the proponent by council? Thank you. Item 5, zoning amendment bylaw number 856, 2022, which proposes to permit 2 principal buildings at 1290 Main Street. And I am declaring a conflict of interest as my wife is the applicant. Councillor MacLean, just give me a second and I'll get out of your hair.
So we will call upon Ms. Etty to give the presentation regarding the zoning amendment bylaw number 856, 2022, please.
The next item on tonight's public hearing agenda is Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 847, 2021, amendment bylaw 856, 2022, proposing to allow 2 principal buildings on the property located at 1290 Main Street. The property is legally described as Lot 2, District Lot 7356, Caribou District Plan 9569. The applicant proposes to construct a second building in addition to the single-family dwelling that is currently on the property. The proposed building would contain multiple units to become affordable rental units. At the regular council meeting of January 25th, 2022, council gave first and second readings of the proposed zoning amendment bylaw, and since then, adjacent property owners have been notified. Affected residents have been invited to provide written submissions to the village office or feedback at tonight's public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Etty. Were there any written submissions or summary of submissions received prior to these proceedings?
No, there weren't.
Thank you. Are there any verbal presentations from the public? Is there a presentation by the proponent if they're present?
No presentation, but
Okay.
for questions if
Okay.
there are.
And so there were no questions or comments raised by the public. Are there any questions of staff and/or the proponent by council? I don't remember what to do. Do we call the question now? Or
There's no question.
there is no question? Okay.
No, we can just recall.
So we can recall Mayor Torgerson to the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Point of order, Your Worship.
Pardon?
We have not adjourned public hearing at this point.
You have not adjourned the public hearing. I hereby adjourn the public hearing. Thank you. And with that, we'll move right into the regular meeting of council being Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022. Another doozy of a Tuesday. First item on the agenda, call to order. Second item, 2.1, adoption of this evening's agenda. Councillor MacLean, Councillor Blanchette. There is an amendment for council that the regular meeting of this council be adopted as amended to include the following item to 15.1, notice to proceed in camera for one item, 91C, labor relations and other employee relations. Good. Any additions? All in favor? It's carried. 3.1, adoption of the minutes of the previous regular council meeting being February 8th, 2022, that they be adopted as presented. Councillor G, Councillor Pearson, are there any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. 3.2, adoption of the minutes of the previous special meeting of council being February 14th, 2022, that they be adopted. Councillor MacLean, Councillor Blanchette. Any errors or omissions arising? All in favor? It's carried. Under item 7, is there anything in the reading file council would like to bring to surface? Administrative reports. 8.1, we have a budget item approval to consider to Kendrick Equipment Limited. Recommendation here, the council approves $31,528.90 payment to Kendrick Equipment Limited for required repairs to the trackless machine, and this needs to be included in the 2022 budget. We have a mover, moved by Councillor Pearson, seconded by Councillor G. Discussion. Councillor MacLean.
What is a trackless machine? What does it do?
I can take a stab. So it's the little four-wheeled machine that you can see running around town. It articulates in the middle. It does snow removal. It does grass mowing. It does, steep slope grass mowing as well, because we bought that attachment from a couple years ago. But mainly it goes behind the grader and really helps out residents get rid of snow when it gets piled up, is my take. Anything to add, Mrs. McNee?
It also clears the parking lot so the gravel and dust. Not sure if you
Oh,
saw
that's
that.
right, yeah, okay, yeah,
And
it's got
it's
a,
used for the Bigfoot Trail to clear it, both in winter and summer.
it looks like they went through a pretty extensive list to get it back to life. Councillor Pearson?
Yeah, just curious on the age of that machine.
It was purchased before, I hate to say this before my time, so before 2009.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's not a bad price for an overhaul.
No.
Any further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 8.2, we have an information sharing agreement, Village of Valemount and Credit Management Corporation to consider. Recommendation that the information sharing agreement between Village of Valemount and Credit Management Corporation be approved by council. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Pearson, discussion. Nice to see all information stays within the borders of Canada. All in favor? It's carried. Item 8.3, VCF and VIP board appointments. Recommendation here that the report be received for information. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Pearson, discussion. AGM to follow the receipt of and adoption of audited statements. All in favor? It's been received. 8.4, Columbia Basin Trust Community Initiatives Program and Affected Areas Program. From here on out, forever for CBT, CIP, AAP. Public input process, that the 2022 process be received for information. Councillor G, Councillor MacLean. Councillor G, anything to add?
Well, with the pandemic, we had to drastically alter the traditional in-person public meeting. And what we found last year was we actually got more public input by doing it virtually. And paper applications are still available for those that don't want to do the internet thing. So it seems to work. It's not our favorite way to do it, but we're still getting more public input. Maybe because of the extended time frame, people have up to, I think it's 2 weeks to put their views in. So
More than 2 hours?
more than 2 hours, yeah.
And Councillor Blanchette, in your other life at the library, did you see any uptake? Folks looking to use your resources there to give input? Do you recall?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So it is working. Further discussion? All in favor? It's carried. 8.5, Valemount Area Recreation Development Association, request for Sled Fest 2022. Again, stepping out, recusing myself as I'm a voting member of this board. Excuse me. Councillor MacLean.
Okay, so regarding the Valemount Area Recreational Development Association's proposed Sled Fest 2022, the request, the recommendation will be separate resolutions. One, that Varda's winter event Sled Fest, including the Brett Turcotte Freestyle Show, proposed to take place on 5th Avenue on Saturday, April 22nd, 2022, be supported by council subject to A, the proponent submitting the required liability insurance documents to the Village of Valemount no less than 14 calendar days prior to the event, and B, the proponent hand delivering event notices, including road closures, to business owners on 5th Avenue and adjacent properties no less than 14 calendar days prior to the event. A motion, please. Councillor G, Councillor Blanchette. Discussion?
This is exciting.
I just have a note, the date should be April 9th, 2022. That's a typo.
Okay. So we will revise the motion to say that it will take place on Saturday, April 9th. Subject to what A and B. And all in favor? Carried. And 2, the council authorizes the closure of the following from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the day of the event. 5th Avenue and the alley to the north between Birch Street and Dogwood Street, and Birch, Cedar, and Dogwood Street between 4th and 5th Avenue, subject to A, road closures being advertised in the local paper the week prior to the event and posted on Tourism Valemount webpage, social media, and B, the proponent meeting with Public Works Superintendent prior to the event to confirm details of road closures and Public Works availability. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor G, discussion? All in favor? Carried. May we recall Mayor Torgerson? It was passed.
Thank you, Councillor.
Both motions.
Item 8.6, street vendor bylaw, permit 0122 for the Sunset Shack, say that 5 times fast, Sunset Shack at 1422 Bruce Place. Recommendation here that final approval be given to Sunset Shack Limited to operate a street vending unit at 1422 Bruce Place, legally described as Lot 17, District Lot 5708, Caribou District Plan 16593 for up to 3 years. Councillor G, Councillor Pearson, discussion.
Worked quite well last year.
Yeah, I'm happy they'll be able to share a lot. All in favor? It's carried. 8.7, development variance permit 2201 at 1904 Cranberry Place. We do have a recommendation that development variance 2201 for 1904 Cranberry Place, legally described as parcel A-O 40754 of Lot 8, District Lot 7354 of the Caribou District Plan 1977-9, to increase the maximum height of an accessory building to 6.43 meters or 21.11 feet, and it be given final approval. Councillor G, Councillor Blanchette, discussion on final approval. All in favor? It's carried. And wrapping up on bylaws and policies, 9.1, Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 847, 2021, amendment bylaw number 856, 2022. And I'll be, for the last time tonight,
You promise, right?
I'll be recusing myself as it is
Get it
my,
zoomed in.
yeah. Be in the waiting room all night. My wife is the applicant.
So the recommendation is that the Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 847-2021, amendment bylaw number 856-2022 be given third and fourth readings. Do we have a motion? Councillor Blanchette, Councillor G, all in favor? Carried. We can ask the mayor to. It was carried.
It was carried?
Yes, it was carried.
Excellent. Thank you. No new business this evening. Does anybody have a notice of motion to bring forward? Moving on to 12.1, council reports. Councillor Blanchette.
So first of all, I want to remind everybody tomorrow is Pink T-shirt Day for anti-bullying, which started actually in Nova Scotia. I was surprised, 2007. A young university man was bullied for wearing a pink T-shirt to school. And so the next day, a whole bunch of his cohorts got together and they all wore pink T-shirts. So make sure you wear your pink T-shirt or pink anything tomorrow. On the 14th, we had an in-camera meeting, and on the 15th, we had a Clean Air Task Force meeting, which was fantastic. Really got a lot of stuff done. We came up with we did some sketching out of our 5-year goals for the committee. What's realistic, what could happen, what we're all looking for to happen. We even started discussing the dust and the vehicle idling, which will be our next meeting. So it was really, really a lot of good stuff. Just throwing it out there that more paved roads, DOF, would cut down on dust. And a big thank you to Public Works, because last year when they did the spring road cleaning, it was fabulous, and a lot of residents had noticed that it cut down on the dust, so they wanted to send out their thank yous for that. And that is my report.
Well, thank you for that. Kitty Corner, Councillor Pearson.
Only one thing on my report tonight, and that was the quarterly meeting of the Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association. And just so everybody knows, Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association, this is 75th anniversary this year, I believe. Advocates for the Highway 16 Yellowhead route from the Manitoba border to Haida Gwaii and Highway 5 to Kamloops. And so all things related as far as road maintenance, and we are slowly edging into working with tourism and Indigenous tourism as well along the route. So that is my report.
Thank you very much. Across the room, Councillor G.
Yeah, so the in-camera council meeting, I attended that. That was the only thing I had to report, but I also forgot to mention earlier that there is still a seat available on the CBT committee. So there's another ad going out, so if anyone wants to sit on that or knows of somebody that wants to sit on that, there's still time to jump on board. That is my report.
Do you recall when they need to respond by?
No.
Okay.
Soon.
Thank you. Councillor MacLean.
On the 10th, I had a Columbia Basin Trust Local Government Committee meeting telecon. On the 14th, I too attended the special meeting of council. And on the 15th, along with Councillor Blanchette, I was at the Clean Air Committee meeting.
Anything to add from the Clean Air Task Force?
No, I felt the same way about it. Everybody's really enthusiastic and we're moving ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. February 9th, I had a local healthcare resource discussion with MLA Bond. To be set up with moving down the line with other communities impacted by the Trans Mountain project. February 10th, had a virtual discussion with our new ICAO, Isabell Hadford. February 11th, at a special meeting of the Southeast BC Connectivity Committee. Looking forward to what was the announcement for the provincial budget this afternoon. 14th, I responded to an oil and gas commission survey in collaboration with Borealis Geopower, as it was very geothermal centric, the survey questions. 14th, again, met with Ainsley Jackman, Gordon Carson, Craig Pryor, Doug Fleming, Mrs. McNee, to discuss the VCF Articles of Incorporation. Again, on the 14th, special meeting at council with you all. Had a restriction lifting COVID briefing on the 15th for the province of British Columbia. The 16th, 16th and 17th, 16th. Yeah, wow, okay, 16th, 17th, and 18th. 16th was Regional District Committee of the Whole for the budget. 17th was Regional District Connectivity Committee. Finally, backpedaling to the healthcare resources discussion with MLA Bond. She had set up a discussion with herself, MLA Millibar for Kamloops North Thompson, and Mayor Blackwell of the District of Clearwater. February 18th, and we gave what we had pleaded that she take our concerns to the Ministry of Health and to Emergency Health Services. The 18th, back at the RD with Environment and Parks, we had a committee of the whole to discuss their published housing needs assessment report. The 18th, continuing, we had an agricultural land use committee meeting, followed by the Fraser Fort George Hospital Board, followed by a closed meeting, open meeting, and then fast forward to today, the 2022 provincial budget announcement. And with the Southeast BC Connectivity Committee, hoping to meet with Citizen Services next week to discuss what a budget might look like after the UBF is announced. So fingers crossed. That's my report. Motion to receive. Councillor G, Councillor MacLean, questions of council, concerns, comments? I got connectivity in there.
Yeah.
All in favor? They've been received. I hereby give notice to proceed in camera under 15.1 for consideration of two items per section 91C and I of the Community Charter to discuss matters related to, are there any public comments this evening? Have there been any electronic and/or in-person received? Okay. Now, under 15.1, heading into in-camera for consideration, two items per section 91C and I of the Community Charter to discuss matters related to C, labor relations and other employee relations, and I, receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Did I get a mover? Councillor Blanchette, Councillor G. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you all.